I am this guy right here, Nick Shell. This is a book that I've written and published called The Guy's Guide to Enneagram. If you would like to purchase it, I make it so easy. There's a link below. It takes you to Amazon. You can buy it. And I'll make like $2, which is a lot less money than I make just from the ads on my videos combined. So if you want to check it out, I invite you to. But ultimately, I wrote the book so that I would learn more and know more, so that I could share with you in these videos and help people in real life. This particular video, what I want to focus on is the concept of being an introvert or an extrovert. I've talked to a lot of people and I seem to get the same answers, no matter what their Enneagram is. I feel like most people, if you say, are you an extrovert or an introvert? They say, I'm a little bit of both. And I think that is the best answer for most people. So that's really what I want to address, and I want to look at that from an Enneagram perspective. I will definitely say, though, there are people who say, oh, I'm an extrovert. I gotta be going, I gotta be talking, I gotta be doing stuff all the time. And then there's other people like, no, I'm an introvert. I'm totally fine just staying by myself. Yes, there are people, but I think most people are gonna be in the middle of the spectrum, like me. The way I like to describe myself is I'm an introvert on the inside, and I'm an extrovert on the outside. That's the best way I can describe it. I am very introspective. I think one of the ways you can find out how much introverted you are is by the music that you listen to. I have found a pattern in which genres of music typically reveal. So I'm gonna say the introverted personalities are more drawn to jazz, rock music, like especially heavy metal, but like alternative rock in general tends to be more introspective. And then I'm gonna say any kind of like just instrumental music where there's not actual, like even if it's like classic piano. So I'm gonna say stuff that's just instruments. I'm gonna say stuff that is rock based, where the lyrics are more introspective and trying to understand things and things like that. I'm gonna say that's gonna be the more introverted music. So if that's mainly what you listen to, if you would rather listen to something like jazz or rock or heavy metal or just instrumental or like chill music or whatever, you're probably an introvert. I would say if you're an extrovert, here's the music you're probably attracted to: country music. Country music is 100% extroverted. Even if they're talking about all the things going wrong, it's a very emotional genre. It's mainly focusing on what I don't have and what I'm trying to get, or what I used to have and wish I still had. It's that sort of, it's very emotional. Whereas I think that rock music and jazz music and instrumental is not so emotional. It's more of a streamline. But I think when we look at country music, we look at pop music, Taylor Swift, for example, or we look at rap. I think most rap specifically is, you're gonna see more of that chaos. So here's what I mean by that. I think in general, introverts are drawn to stability, calmness, and logic. And I think that jazz music, rock music, heavy metal specifically, and any kind of instrumental, more so is calm, stable, predictable. It has a way that it kind of settles things out. Even if it's like, it's still like there's a certain consistency to it. And it's less about emotions. It's less about being controlled by life doing like this to me, making me one of those wavy things at the parking lots of mattress stores. But I feel that rap music and pop music and country music is more so that like life is chaotic. So it's like chaos, conflict, emotional turmoil, okay? Chaos, conflict, and emotional turmoil are gonna be more so the extroverted type of music. Now, that's not to say that that totally defines whether you're an introvert or extrovert, but I definitely feel that if you definitely resonate with one side or the other, I think that's a good indicator of largely if you are an introvert or not, or an extrovert. Another thing that makes it tricky is that I think people can conflate an introvert, meaning that you don't have social skills, and that's just simply not true. Yes, there are stereotypes of people, I'm just gonna hide in my turtle shell and not see the end of the world and just watch documentaries and edit Wikipedia there are people like that, but that's a far extreme. And we can't conflate that with what being an introvert is. There are plenty of people who talk in front of people and have social skills, but really they're introverted. They're looking more at things from a logical perspective, a statistical perspective. They're looking to problem solve. And that, I think, is a lot of the introverted thing. I think it's important that I share this story. A couple of years ago, 2021, my family went to Disney World. And I went along with it, but I didn't have a good time. It's like, well, why? How did you not have fun at Disney World? Well, because for me, I'm thinking, okay, so each day we're spending like 8 hours in line, and we're only on a ride for like total like 20 minutes for the whole day. Like, so I'm mainly just standing around in Orlando in the sun, paying thousands of dollars, for this thing, and not to mention the travel and then the food. And so basically I'm just paying thousands of dollars to mainly stand in line and be hot and not have fun. I'm being very logical about it, but I think that the average person could go to Disney World like, oh, this is so fun, this is exciting, yeah, look at all the stuff going on. But specifically what I have ran into is, whether it's Disney World, this year I moved away from Nashville, Tennessee, and now I live in Alabama, where things are calmer and quieter and more stable. But like, it got to the point where I hated going to Nashville, specifically downtown Nashville. I hated it. And I thought it was because I'm not an extrovert. Well, here's my impression of downtown Nashville. If you've been there recently, you'll know what I mean. Like, there's people strung out on drugs. There's people just bumping into you, trying to get into clubs. It's really loud. Like, there's no personal connection whatsoever. Like, yes, there's a lot going on and it's exciting, but there's no human connection. And so for me, I don't care whether there's 100 people in the room, 1,000 people, 5. I don't care how many people are in the room. It's not that I don't like crowds, I don't like people. It's not true at all. It's that I need to be able to personally connect with people. And I can connect with 5 people all at once in a real conversation, or one person, or I can be up in front of a stage and talking to hundreds of people, and that's fine. But what I don't do well with when I'm around people and I'm not connecting with them. So I think for me, it's about having that true connection. So that does make me sound introverted, but again, I have social skills and I like doing exciting things. I just don't like things that aren't logical, and going to Disney World is just not a logical thing. Whereas this past summer, my family went to Oregon and we had a family vacation out there. It was like my favorite vacation ever. My wife and I went to Golden, Colorado. We went to Traverse City, Michigan. But it's these places that those aren't the places that everybody goes, but they're out in nature and you can connect and it feels good and that's fun and exciting. So it's fun from a logical perspective. So I think that is one of the ways that I kind of put a finger on. If we're looking at the scale of introverted and extroverted, I really think the type of music you listen to and the types of vacations that you choose, what you constitute as fun, ultimately has a lot to do with that. I think that if you are truly introverted, you're probably more of an introspective person. You are looking at finding the fundamental problem and focusing on that and looking through things logically. I think if you're more extroverted, then what's going to happen is you're not looking at the root of the problem. You're looking at, here's how I'm being affected by the problem, and here's how I feel about it. So based on that definition, I think that I feel that the more extroverted you are, probably the more emotional you are. That's what I think. The more that you show your emotions on the outside, a roller coaster of emotions. That's what I feel. And I feel if you're more introverted, you still feel emotions, but you're more so in control of your emotions because you want things to be calm, because you have enough that you're already thinking about. You don't want to be distracted about all these things that ultimately are controlling you. So you control your emotions and you're reserved in that way. So I think in closing, what we have to do is we have to take away the concept of of social skills and being able to talk in front of a crowd. Because I know plenty of people who are flat out extroverts, like 100% extroverts, but then they're afraid to talk on a stage in front of people. Whereas for me, I have no fear talking in front of people. But a lot of people, by my own definition, I would constitute more so as an introvert. It's just that I have really good social skills and I know how to speak with people, and I'm well read, so I always have something interesting to say or talk about. So just because I can easily be in front of a stage and talk to people and not be afraid of that, it doesn't mean I'm an extrovert. Because I almost feel like all the extroverts that I know, they feel the least comfortable being in front of a crowd talking. There's almost an irony in that if you're already an introvert, as long as you're confident what you know, like, okay, sure, I'll talk to these people about the thing because it's knowledge based. It's not about my emotions. It's like, hey, I know this thing. Yeah, I'll teach everybody about this thing. Yeah, that's fine, no big deal. I can't believe you're up on stage saying that. You look so confident. Well, because I knew what I was talking about. Like, yeah, it's no big deal. I would love to hear from you in the comments. Do you think I may be onto something on my sort of strange reasoning on what constitutes an introvert or an extrovert? And as far as the Enneagram thing, specifically, there are, I would say, 9s, 4s, and 5s are more likely to be the true introverts. But it doesn't always mean that they are. My dad is an 8, and he's one of the most introverted people that most people have ever been around. So you can be an introvert or an extrovert either way. Obviously a 7, you'd think, oh, well, they're definitely an extrovert. I also know 7s who are very reserved. So it can go either way. I say it's less based about Enneagram, and I think it's more based on how your brain thinks logically. I think if you're closer to a 5, you're probably more likely to be introverted. 4s, of course, they have the 5 wing. 5s in general. 6s also have a 5 wing. And then 9s also are more that withdrawn type, so they tend to have this more introverted side to them. All right, I said a lot. Now it's time for you to say something right there.